very much. And good morning, Prime Minister of Barbados, the Right Honourable Fundal Jerome Stewart, QC MP, members of the Cabinet of Barbados, members of the Senate, including Senator Sir Roy Trotman, members of the House of Parliament, Ms. Linda Brooks, President General of the Barbados Workers' Union, Ms. Tony Moore, General Secretary of the Barbados Workers' Union, Brother Hassan Yousaf, President of the Canadian Labour Congress and President of TUCA, Brother Victor Baez, General Secretary of TUCA, members of the Executive Council, delegates and other members of the Barbados Workers' Union, the Very Reverend Dr. Frank Marshall, Chaplain of the Barbados Workers' Union, senior government officials, distinguished invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very good morning for all of us to be together here, and I wish you again a very pleasant morning. This year again, I am thankful for yet another opportunity to deliver remarks on the occasion of the annual Delegates Conference of the Barbados Workers' Union. For the honor to be at this very special 75th conference, I do indeed thank the Executive Council. Steadfastness, resoluteness, determination, re-energizing, regeneration. These are words which come to mind when I reflect on the theme for this year's annual Delegates Conference, clear focus, renewed drive. This theme articulates a renewed vision and impetus for the Barbados Workers' Union, a powerhouse which has, over the span of its 75 years, been on the front line for the rights of workers. And I have a sneaky suspicion, though I haven't been here that long, that every day of those 75 years something was going on in the halls of the Barbados Workers' Union. Its legacy certainly does attest to that fact. The Ministry of Labour, Social Security and Human Resource Development, in its efforts to fulfill its own mission, values its partnership with the Barbados Workers' Union, since both our organizations seek to improve the quality of life of workers. Indeed, the government of Barbados views the Barbados Workers' Union as an important partner in our work to build a better and more resilient Barbados, one which is socially balanced, economically viable, environmentally sound, and of course characterized by good and honest governance. Together, we promote opportunities for decent and productive work in conditions of freedom of association, equity, security, and human dignity, to provide quality social and economic benefits for Barbadians. Although sometimes sitting on different sides of the bargaining table, our roles are not dissimilar. Ultimately, we all seek the welfare of workers, unionized or not, male or female, young or old, able-bodied or differently able, and indeed local or migrant workers. With respect to that latter category, as Minister responsible for labour and employment, I've recently had need to establish a technical committee to advise on and monitor migrant workers and their conditions in Barbados. As you are aware, there are a number of projects, including hotel construction projects on stream. We have, for example, the former Sandlords Castle site, which is managed by the Wyndham Hotel Group, the Sandals Barbados Resort expansion project, and the Hyatt-centric Carlisle Bay Hotel proposed for Lower Bay Street. And indeed, I am reliably informed that there are many others on the way. These will give skilled Barbadians greater opportunities to gain decent work, which will no doubt reduce our unemployment rate. However, we have noted that there's also a demand for foreign workers to be involved in these projects as well, alongside our local workers. And in an effort to ensure the protection of all workers on this island, especially in the construction of these projects in the first instance, it was considered prudent that a protocol should be developed to address issues such as wages and contractual payments, accommodation, holidays and days off, occupational safety and health, sanitation, social security, and other conditions. It is imperative that employers, developers, and all stakeholders, including the workers themselves, are aware of the legislative and other provisions which obtain in Barbados to govern employment and other relevant areas pertaining to health, sanitary conditions, town planning requirements, immigration, and so on. And these will all be set out in this protocol. As a signatory to the ILO and other conventions which address issues relating to foreign labor, we will ensure that decent working conditions are provided for all workers, both local and foreign. It will require greater monitoring, but by using the combined resources of the several relevant agencies, it can, and indeed it will be done. We do want the jobs, yes, but we will not compromise on the standards for our workers, as may have been allowed on other occasions. According to the most recent available statistics from the Barbados Statistical Service for the first quarter of 2016, the unemployment rate stood at 9.3%, a decrease from 10.2% in the last quarter of 2015. Indeed, in recent quarters, we have noticed a steady decline in unemployment. Youth unemployment, however, has continued to be roughly 3 times higher than the general figure. The issue of youth unemployment is therefore one that my ministry is addressing, and I know that the Barbados Workers Union is too, because in one way or another, this issue of youth unemployment will impact each and every one of us. The challenge of youth unemployment is global. July 15th is commemorated by the United Nations as World Youth Skills Day to sensitize the global community of the important link between skills development and the reduction of unemployment, particularly youth unemployment, and the alleviation of poverty. And research shows that over 73 million young people, it's a staggering figure, over 73 million young people are looking for work. The global share of youth not in education, employment, or training has reached more than 1 in 5. And at the same time, technological changes, innovation, and transition to greener economies are redefining jobs and changing the demand for skills. Countries across this region are asking the same questions in relation to youth employment. How do we prepare young people for a future where some of the best jobs have not even been invented yet? How can young people get up to speed with skills and information that is required by the labor market? How do we engage vulnerable youth who may otherwise have little hope of becoming productive citizens in our society? And what do we need to do to encourage employers to take a chance on young people? These are important questions which need to be answered, and we are searching for the answers. We have observed the need for new skills through the emergence of new sectors, such as renewable energy, oil and gas, and the cultural industries, and the expansion of traditional sectors, such as information technology and auto mechanics. We recognize that these new skills also require different types of tools and equipment, which will impact on the kinds of plant which we need to have in our training institutions. Attention also needs to be placed on the application of diverse teaching and training modalities to allow for the acquisition of competency-based certifications and the reduction of class times, while at the same time providing for more strategic, practical experience. These observations have led the government of Barbados to place skills development as a priority. And over the past 5 years, it has executed a number of projects and initiatives under the ambit of the Barbados Human Resource Development Strategy, as well as the Skills for the Future program. And now there's the Strengthening Human and Social Development program. And 2 major outcomes of these programs will be the provision of timely and accurate labor market information on the skills needed in industry, and the dedicated provision of training and employment services for the most vulnerable in our society. These initiatives will help us to provide skills for our young people, making them employable and able to support themselves, enjoy quality lives, and contribute to the country's economy. I must take this opportunity to express my thanks and the thanks of my ministry to the Barbados Workers Union for its advice in the execution of these many projects, and also in the continual review of our labor legislation. Now, we all know in here that the legislative process is a lengthy one, and we do value the consultative efforts of our social partners who have been with us every step of the way. I am pleased then in that regard to inform you that the new Holidays with Pay Bill and the Minimum Wage Bill will be debated in Parliament shortly, having been approved by Cabinet. The Minimum Wage Bill will make way for the establishment of a minimum wage board, which will advise on a minimum wage, be it nationally or for specific groups. They will consider the cost of living and other important factors in arriving at their decision. The last increase you may all recall in the minimum wage was for shop assistants in 2011. So I know that they are awaiting another increase in that minimum wage, and the new minimum wage board will be considering that. And at long last, we expect soon to be able to get the Attorney General's certificates on the employment sexual harassment legislation and the anti-discrimination in the workplace legislation, which is the final step then before Parliament. And then, ladies and gentlemen, our attention will be turned to the Trade Union Act and the amendments thereto. We have been able to do a lot of work in the ministry on legislation, policy, employment and training, and it would not have been possible without the support of the Barbados Workers Union. There are many who believe that the Barbados Workers Union and others in labor make my work more difficult, but I must confess that the Barbados Workers Union has indeed been a partner and aided us in getting our work done. So as you celebrate your 75th anniversary, and this nation celebrates its 50th anniversary of independence, we all acknowledge that our progress is the result of the hard work and dedication of generations of Barbadians in all spheres of activity. And today in particular, we salute the men and women who gave untiringly to this nation by devout service to and through the Barbados Workers Union. Preparations are underway for September 18th, when the Government of Barbados, through the 50th Anniversary Independence Coordinating Committee and the Secretariat, will join you in commemorating the 100th anniversary of the birthday of the Right Excellent Sir Frank Walker and celebrating other legends of labor. Among them, we will be celebrating the lives of the Right Excellent Clement Payne, the Right Excellent Charles Duncan O'Neill, the Right Excellent Sir Hugh Springer, and the Right Excellent Sir Bradley Adams, and I believe there are others in that list. Entitled Labour Marches On, the event will be a march and dramatic production beginning at the Frank Walker Building and then going through town and ending at Queen's Park. That is September 18th, so as they say today, save the date, September 18th. Please join us as we put the spotlight on the role of labor in our success as a nation. And wearing my hat as the Deputy Chair of the Coordinating Committee for our independence activities, I invite all of you to be a part of the several activities that have been planned within the next 95 days to celebrate our 50th birthday as a nation. All that being said, I am this morning indeed truly honored to now declare open the 75th Annual Delegates Conference of the Barbados Workers Union.